Glad you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Despite being an archipelago, the Philippines faces various water supply and security concerns, with poor communities only getting a drop in the bucket. Let's now have an exchange with Clean Water International's Darrell Nelson. Thank you so much for joining us, and he will discuss with us how he's making the water resource available for all. Thank you so much for joining us. How serious, Darrell, is the country's water situation based on your interactions with underserved and unserved communities?
Yeah, I would say mostly unserved communities, or not so served in our case. So we serve a lot of rural areas and indigenous areas. And the biggest challenges that we see all the time is water supply, safe water, distribution challenges where people have to fetch their water, or the hoses are disrepair and they need to be fixed so they don't have water. And of course, all the households that are experiencing waterborne disease, which inevitably is adding to what's called malnutrition. Mm-hmm. And we see that a lot in the schools that we serve, where they've got programs, because it's creating stunting and different things. Because when your little body is fighting waterborne disease, it cannot absorb the food the way it needs to. And the biggest thing is really the lack of funds, because there are water stations available in some of these areas now. Right. It wasn't 10, 12 years ago. But in farming communities, people just really can't afford it.
So countless problems that you encounter. How does your organization help address these water issues in these communities?
Well, one of our primary things is to engage with schools first. So we have this, what we call a village biosand system. So we go in, it'll serve 1,000 people. So that's more than enough for the school and the community. And it's also helping the schools into their WINS program, which they love it. And then we try to engage the community with these water filters here, of which we placed number 10 in the second Philippine Water Challenge this last week in World Water Day. So point of use is super successful in people's homes. So that's kind of our approach. And we can do all kinds of different water, filtration methods, of which example, when we do disaster relief, we might use Sawyer or other ones too. We also have a chlorination system that's portable. So it depends on
Darrell, I'd like to jump in here. Right? Which particular areas are you servicing at the moment? Which areas are you servicing?
Mostly Mindanao, because we're located down here. But we've done projects in Cebu, Negros, Samar, Leyte, and of course during Odette, we are in Surigao and helping with rural islands as well in terms of disaster response. But mostly here, we did ship a container of these filters to Manila. Mm-hmm. So we're reaching out to partners there who are very interested, because we know that Central Visayas and Manila, that's kind of the hot zone for all of the disasters that come through in terms of storms. And so the need is really great there too.
And how does Darrell, how does your organization's activities complement with the government's push to provide stable and potable water access, especially to the underserved and unserved Filipinos?
Right. Well, first of all, I take my hat off to the Philippine government, because they've released the Water Security Act, which is great. So the first thing we do is we engage and collaborate with local government units and communities, and of course schools, and to really help them with their wash capacity building and education. And then through that, we get to engage the schools and households in the community, which is primary, because, we believe in every child's right to clean water, and that's the focus.
And Darrell, you and your wife are adopted Filipinos. You love the Philippines. This is your second home, and you also conduct operations in North America, in the U.S. and Canada. How does the Philippines compare to these countries in terms of water management, and what can we learn from them? Right.
I think the biggest challenge here is lack of funding and resources. Not so much necessarily in Canada and the U.S. However, we do know that Canada and the U.S. do have problems. Example, the Indigenous people in Canada. Some of them have been on boil water alerts for 20 years. That's crazy. But here in the Philippines, so many people live in rural areas, and these people don't even have piped water to their homes, or they don't have instant access even to the community. So it's an expensive proposition. And so we believe that by working with government units, other NGOs, as well as tapping into the corporate Philippine sector, we can really make a difference, because we can't do this all by ourselves. It takes a consortium of everyone. And of course, what's really important from my perspective is the behavioral change that every single person in the Philippines needs to have in terms of water, sanitation, hygiene, of which COVID really highlighted when it came to hand washing, right?
So your group definitely is now making a difference in the country. Thank you so much for this Water Security Exchange, Clean Water International's Darrell Nelson. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business. As we welcome the dry season, how are companies managing our water systems for steady distribution? Tubig Pilipinas joins us next here on CNN Philippines. News you can trust.